Hey, what's up? How are you doing? I hope you are keeping well. I'm here to know how I manage my symptoms, I suppose. And this video is going to be as honest and as raw as it possibly can. It's March, and that means it's Awareness Month for endometriosis. And I find that with regards to these videos, they can be very overwhelming for people that are watching them or listening to them or just having them on their social media. For someone that has the condition, it can be quite daunting as well. I'm not here to give you a video worth of jargon. From the age of 21, I've had endometriosis and I'm 35 now. So anything I've suggested or anything that I've done, I would also recommend that you seek medical professional help and you were to look into it before you try any of the things that I've suggested. The last thing I'll say before I get into it is if you are experiencing any significant pain which is causing you to be debilitated, unable to function, and you know that your body is telling you something, you need to seek help and make sure that you are taken seriously, because it's very important that you do, and no one should be in pain. So let's get right into the video, shall we? Every single person that has endometriosis, their symptoms are very different depending on what part of the body it affects. I find that it really affects my, I get very fatigued, I can sometimes get brain fog, I can then feel like I can't function very well. Exercise and other things I will mention sometimes helps and sometimes it doesn't. So a bit of a back history. I'll put the link of my video of my endometriosis story, so I won't go into it too much regards to that. But I was diagnosed with endometriosis when I was 21 years old. And when I first was diagnosed, I was having issues with my bowel. Bowel was stuck to my womb because with endometriosis, it causes sticky lesions, and that's what causes problems in terms of pain most of the time. So moving forward, I then decided to take it upon myself to do some research. I looked up ways of how I can manage my symptoms. I looked up ways of what was going on with me because I didn't really know. I wasn't really given much information. Not really many people that I went to see knew what this condition was. I just had to kind of take it upon myself to do some digging. And I noticed that there was things that I was currently doing, but I needed to do things slightly different. The first thing that I did was I acknowledged my pain. Now that sounds like something that would be quite obvious. When I was coping with my symptoms before I knew I had endometriosis, and then when I was diagnosed, I realized actually what I was feeling for all those years, because it took 5 years for me to be diagnosed with the condition. I then realized what I was doing, or backtrack into what I was doing around those times and what I did differently. So before, when I used to have pain in my abdomen or pain in my back or pain just in general, my joints would be sore. I thought that I just had a cold. So I didn't really pay much attention to that, and then it just went away. But then I noticed it was becoming more frequent, and then I thought maybe I've just come down with the flu or come down with a viral infection. But actually that was my body telling me I was getting a flare-up. I acknowledge what I'm eating, I acknowledge my activity levels, and I acknowledge if I've actually eaten something that could inflame my body further. Next step from that would be making sure I'm active. Now, endometriosis is one of those conditions that affects your life day in and day out. There are some amazing women that I communicate with through social media, for people that I know, and they really find it hard to work. They find it hard to be active. For anyone that has endometriosis, they know exactly what it means to have a certain stage and how that affects their life. So being active was something that I wanted to do, me exercising based on my menstrual cycle. Now, as I say, I'm stage 2. So anyone that's stage 3 or 4, things would be like slightly different for them. And as I mentioned before, wherever you are affected in your body with the endometriosis, because it doesn't just affect women, and it can affect people in their lungs, it could be thoracic, it could be in their spine, it could be in their brain. So there are things which I would say that I don't necessarily know about. This is me just explaining that actually the most common cause for endometriosis is usually the abdominal area, which is why medical professionals assume it's just your period, when that is not the case at all. If you have a bad period, you have a bad period. But if you have endometriosis, it's not just that you have a bad period. And if you ever get told that by a medical professional, please argue your case even further, because you know your body and no one else does. The exercises that I do, I make sure that I listen to my body. If I'm pushing myself too much, then I back away a little bit. As frustrating as it is to then go 2 steps forward and have 5 steps back, which has happened many times. Many times for me, where I find that when I'm exercising, I cannot do that level of intensity for like 2 to 3, sometimes a week. So I know when I should and shouldn't train. And usually for the 2 weeks before I start my period, I'm all ready to go. The week leading up and the week of my cycle, I take it easy. That has helped my energy levels further to do other things in my life as well. Put a link down below of recommended exercises that I do and see if it helps you as well. The third thing would be better quality sleep. If only I had known this, it would have made things a lot easier. I don't necessarily sit here and say, okay, well, having better sleep has helped me because I catch up on my Z's more or less 9 hours a day. Doesn't happen. My symptoms get significantly harder. I get a lot of twinging down where my ovaries are. Sometimes it can be really excruciating when I cannot walk, and it feels like either a cyst is going to explode or there is something else going on. I ensure that I unwind and I try not to look at my phone as often, as much as that is said now that my habits sometimes do creep up on me. But overall, I'm being aware of what my body requires in general. For a healthy human being to function, you need good sleep. And that also coincides with how you are going to function the following day. Now, having said that, when I'm in pain, sleep is really difficult. Hot water bottle or a heat pad, paracetamol barely touches the surface, ibuprofen. So I understand that it's not going to be as easy just to say, okay, I can have 7 to 9 hours of sleep and I'm going to wake up feeling all refreshed, all lovely. But as long as you are making the efforts to look after your body in that regard, it will show benefits for you because you are giving it what it needs, even if you feel like it's the one thing in your life that you can't bear to do right now. The fourth thing would be stress management. Oh, the world we live in right now. Think about not being stressed is stressful. However, I was at the peak of my illness and I was feeling more or less I couldn't do half as much as I can now. And go for a walk with my dog. I can clean the house. I can go to the gym. I can go shopping. I can see my family. I can see my friends. And then the next day, I don't feel like a truck has just ran me over. I know endometriosis is never going to go away. I know there's no cure for it, but how I treat my body is the only control I have right now. I started feeling a lot better. I was like, what am I doing that's so different than what I was doing before? That I noticed more than anything I'm mentioning is my stress management. One that likes to be in control of things, realizing actually the control I have, there's probably like a fraction of that that's down to me. The rest isn't. And the only thing that's down to me is how I treat my body. Because if I don't look after myself now, 2 to 5 to 10 years time, my health might be a lot different. And there are things that I want to enjoy and be part of then. So I need to make sure I'm doing all I can now. The heartbreaking thing about it is there are women who, and you might be one of them that's watching this, that is in so much agony every day that all they do is cry. All they do is just want the pain to go away. And I can't sit here and say that everything will be okay, because that's not your truth. That's going to be something that someone will say to you because that's just all they can say. All I can possibly say to you is, you've got this. You've got this. You've got this far into your journey with your condition, and it's not defeated you, and it won't defeat you. The only difference is how you treat it now and how you treat it tomorrow will be the outlining guide of whether or not 2 to 3 years time it is going to still be there. And if it is, people that are qualified in this field needs to do more. And I'm hoping that with this endometriosis awareness, it is going to spread and people are going to know exactly what needs to be done for women and those are affected by this awful disease. And just know that you are doing the best you can and you are amazing for what you are doing, and just seeking advice, whether or not that be on social media, says a lot about you as an individual. So please don't give up. That's not an option. So I've already touched base on this already, but I'll also put a link down below to this video. So endometriosis diet. I was very torn between this diet. I tried it for a few years and it just, certain things worked, certain things didn't work for me. I personally just listened to what my body needed. When I first started changing my eating habits, I found that my body just didn't like meat. It's not like I wanted to cut it out just to be part of a trend. I actually couldn't digest the food. It made me sick. It made my symptoms worse, and I just didn't feel very good. So I cut out red meat, I cut out poultry, and I kept fish. So I was a vegan for 5 years. I wasn't a strict vegan, but I was a vegan for 5 years, and then I gradually became a pescatarian, and then now I just eat fish or lead more of a Mediterranean diet, because I find with that there's a lot of inflammatory foods like avocados, oily fish, vegetables, which my body loves, and I just find it just works really well for me, and it's really helped my body function much better than I ever imagined it would do. I'm also gluten-free, I'm dairy-free as well, so hence why the veganism's still kind of in my lifestyle. And probably out of the 7 days of the week, I probably live a plant-based diet for probably 6 out of the 7. In the 7th day, I'll have salmon or I have tuna. And then I also take a B12 vitamin, which is helping me too. I'll also cover the supplements I take in addition to the B12 that I take as well. One area which I struggled with at first, but I actually love doing now, is drinking a lot of water. So I don't know if any one of my videos has seen this monstrosity, and I'm quite behind because it's not 11 a.m. now. It's much later in the day. So it's almost 4 gallons of water. I know it sounds like a lot, right? But I gradually built that up. I find that if I don't drink a lot of water, I feel very just I'm about to say lubricated, and that with regards to my intake of water, I'm not as bloated. Because the one thing that endometriosis can cause, if that constipation is one of the symptoms, and I sometimes get that too. Drinking quite a bit of water, or drinking water in general, has really helped me there. It also kind of gets rid of any water retention that I may or may not have. If I've eaten certain foods which haven't agreed with my stomach, because I have IBS, which is also a symptom part of endometriosis. So there are foods that can create more symptoms for me. So when I have more water, I find that my brain fog isn't as severe, and also I feel a lot more calmer in myself, because the water is helping flush away toxins that could have been built up in my body. Okay. Right, new setting. I hope the lighting is better in here. I was pretty much at the end of explaining why I find water is really helpful. Now I'm at 1 o'clock and it's now 5:05. So I've got some drinking to do, but you kind of see what I mean. Like, water is just a great, and I love it. I'm thankful to anyone that's watched the video so far. Please give it a thumbs up and I'll know that you've watched it this far. So the vitamins I'm going to be showing you are within its natural compound. So what I mean by that is it's not a multivitamin where there's lots of different vitamins in there. It's either going to be by itself or with one other to counteract it, or to kind of make it active, if that makes sense. Not really great explaining, I'm not a scientist. My dog's sniffing. He just wants his own YouTube channel. That's why he keeps making noises every time I try and record. Sunny, that's enough now, thank you. The first vitamin that I take is folic acid. This is with vitamin B12. As I said, I don't eat meat other than fish. This is a great vitamin, I find, for any immune system support. It's great for tiredness and fatigue, which I get with endometriosis. So this is an amazing vitamin for anyone that has endometriosis, and I recommend having it. This is also a vitamin that you would be recommended to try or have when you're trying for children as well. So the second vitamin which I have, and I find that this is probably going to be my staple for pretty much 365 of the year, is vitamin C and zinc combination, because the vitamin C doesn't actually activate without the zinc. I didn't know that. There's certain vitamins that you should have, like calcium and magnesium, they coincide with it. It's a lot of science. I'm not very good at stuff like this, and there is a running theme with the vitamins that I choose to have on a daily basis that helps my immune system, because as endometriosis is an autoimmune disease, anything that helps it, I'm all for it. So that's another one I go for. Vitamin D3. Now, you've probably heard a lot about vitamin D3 through the COVID outbreak. It was all over social media, and believe it or not, this is just a vitamin that the sun provides. So anyone that, like myself, in the winter months, I can get sad, and it's not the case of me being boo-hoo sad. It's actually a condition which you can also have if you don't have enough vitamin D in your system. So this is what I take from Holland & Barrett, 1 a day, and it contributes to maintenance of normal bones and the normal function of the immune system. So this is amazing, because anyone that goes on holiday and just spends time in the sun, you feel much better for it. And I think there is method to the madness. This vitamin here is organic turmeric, which is a combination with organic black pepper and organic ginger, because those three spices, as it were, actually complement each other as well, and you get more out of it. And this is for inflammatory purposes. I started taking this because with my gut being an issue, anytime I had inflammatory foods, it would last for weeks upon weeks upon weeks. I don't think, other than having an issue with my stomach since having COVID, which is a whole different story, I'm feeling very inflamed, I do take these, and they've helped me a lot. Last vitamin, which I've only recently introduced, and I'm kind of seeing the benefits from it, is ZMA. And I need to change the brand of this, because I didn't realise that this brand has gelatin capsules. Rookie error, I know. This vitamin is my go-to. I use magnesium sprays, I use magnesium in my bath, and this ZMA is zinc and magnesium pretty much as a combination, and this helps with muscle recovery and sleep. You as viewers are interested, I will do a separate video on how I'm getting on with ZMA and various amounts of other supplements I take when I'm training, like protein, etc., and what I do with that, like vegan proteins. That might be an idea for another video. Comment down below if you're interested in a video like that from me. So that is everything, and I hope that this video has helped you. And if you have watched this far into the video, thank you again for your support. Make sure to subscribe and press the bell button, because if you don't, then you won't receive the content that I post, and I'm hoping to post regularly with your support. And thank you again for always watching. Until next time, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.